Good day, my dear ones. How are we all doing today? For you in the cold climates, could be detox time, you know. There was a medical doctor on Fox News this morning that was talking about cold and flu-like seasons, you know, and all these people have died, about 4, I think, and some babies. And she had some good advice, and I thought that was pretty good for a medical doctor. She said, you know, when you get a cold and flu-like symptom, you stay home, relax, and drink lots of fluids. Of course, we're going to say, you know, you can put yourself on some herbs, put yourself on some fruit juices, and just let the body clean itself out, because that's what's going on, right? You're engaged in an alkaline environment. That alkaline environment then had an anionic effect, which means that it starts moving away from the cationic or the agglomerated effect of acidosis. See, hot is acid, cold is alkaline. So when you start getting into the cold, it don't matter if it's the weather, because remember, everything's chemistry, which is frequencies of electromagnetic energy. So it doesn't matter at what level you use the duality of life, so to speak. So, but she did have some advice. If you feel dizzy and you get real short of breath and all that, you need to go in. I agree with that one. You know, you want to be safe always. And some people are just so toxic and just so ready to explode. And that's the problem. A lot of medical doctors have suppressed for years. And I imagine people have done that maybe with some herbs. Hard to suppress with herbs, but possible. You want to expectorate. You want to allow. Because if you don't have congestion and acidosis in the body, you're not going to go through anything. It can get as cold as you want. Now, I did go through something this year in the cold myself, but as a rule, I never do. Never do, because it's just how you keep yourself halfway clean. But if I was a milk drinker and everything else, bam, full pneumonia type symptoms and bronchitis type things, that sort of thing. So, The Far Country. A great book by Paul Twitchell. Talks about all the God worlds and how they're put together and all that. It's good reading. Now let's see. Who all do I have here? What's going on there? All right, so let's do some Q&A, because I don't have any real news. We have a lot of changes going on in the company and club. Some stuff that we've had in the works for over 2 years now. And you'll see some changes coming. And I think there are exciting changes coming for us. And I think you'll enjoy them as well. Let me see here. I have a problem that's really painful. Floating kidney. Holy moly. It has fallen 8 centimeters and also twisted. Got this after a renal failure. All right. I feel the kidney pressure to my ribs. The doctors don't believe that it can hurt. Oh no, I disagree with that. But it hurts very much. Yeah. I am eating 70% raw and lots of fruit. No animal protein. Smart. All I can tell you, this is M-A-L-I-N. Malin. I can tell you, my dear one, absolutely. You don't want any proteins, no beans, grains, nothing. I would be total fruitarian. Total fruitarian. Make that 70, 100% right now. But here, think about this. Now, we know in renal failure, you either have genetic weaknesses, and then when you start doing proteins and the acid ash forming diets, that the world is what the world is into. Bye-bye kidneys and all this other sort of thing. So to rebuild that, you get into your fruits, you get into the alkaline side of chemistry. But also a floating kidney, that kind of, now remember that when things are acidic, you can initiate what's called the calcium buffering system. Many universities, we've even touched on it here. It's a very observable physical reaction when the body is having too much acids. You can see it, you can explain it through what, I'll use their terminology, osteoporosis, petechia, bruising easy, cramping, spider veins, your bigger varicose veins, aneurysms, hernias, prolapsing, spasticity, ballooning, pocketing, all these things highly, if not 100% suggestive of connective tissue weakness. Now, when you start initiating the calcium buffering system, that means that the body is in a defense mechanism. The body's too acidic, and we have to pull electrolyte to bring in to try to balance those acids. Well, it's easy to pick up calcium. It's the most abundant metal in the whole body. And so it'll pick that up. You will see those symptoms when that happens. So this can also make for floating kidneys and everything else, because if you think about this, the more acidic, because to have kidney failure or renal failure, you have to be extreme acidosis on top of genetic weaknesses. So when you look at all that and you turn that around, when you're acidic like that, that's when you can start losing connective tissue, and it's all through the pelvic area. You know, it can hit the prostate, ovaries, uterus, cervix, I mean just everywhere in that area. Because you know when the kidneys aren't filtering, the whole lymphatic system is up for grabs, particularly on that side of the body, of course. So that's where, you know, you can see it. So, and I'm going after your case here. I'm going after the parathyroid gland. I don't know about your pituitary. Remember, grit the eyes and look at your eyes. But I would be looking at pituitary just in case. You have to hit that little baby, but you want the parathyroid glands at the same time. And you want to clean out the bowel structure and everything else. There's that, that connection, right? The embryonic connection, we'll call it. So those are the things that I would be doing. Anything to strengthen tissue. But to strengthen tissue or cells, you can't be on the acid side of chemistry, because the acid side of chemistry is a corrosive side. So interstitially, as you begin this agglomeration from a lack of kidney filtration, that's when you see best is to call it interstitial acidosis. They call it now interstitial cystitis, and they got all kinds of names that are related to that, but the bottom line is, interstitially, your lymphatic system has become stagnant. And since the lymphatic system comprises 80% of interstitial fluid, that's a problem. That's a problem. A serious problem. Because where's the blowback? Eventually, on the cell themselves. See, on the outside of the cell, we're still in the inflammatory process. But intracellular acidosis, that's when you start breaking down. As we said, the organelles are all the mitochondria, whatever tissues that the blowback hits. No sugar, no gluten, no coffee. Smart. My histamine sensitivity is gone, which also gave me lots of problems before. Is there anything, but remember, histamine is a what? Immune response. To what? Proteins. Or you could call it acids, proteins. Is there anything I can do? I'm suffering very much. Also big problems with bladder. I figured that. ACC by this. Absolutely. You know, it might take a while to fix things. Some of you guys have some things that can take a little while to fix them, but you want to be on the road to fixing them. Don't get too upset if it takes a little while. The more raw you do, the more it pulls the pain out. The more cooked you do, the more it sets you up for pain. If you notice that when you increase energy levels to tissues, the pain goes away, the tissues become strong. I mean, it's really neat to see. So you know in a weakened state, well then you ask yourself, what weakens your state? Diseases? They don't exist. So what weakens your state? How about your lifestyle? How about the chemistry that you're interfacing with in life? We know that if you breathe toxic chemistry, you know, acids, you have a good chance of passing. Or whatever. Burning and everything else. So what about if all the acids from each cell in your body, say, let's just say we have 100 trillion cells, because no one really has defined that, in my opinion, because when I looked, it was 50 trillion when I went to school, but then about 15, 20 years ago it came up to 78 trillion, and then, so, but imagine each cell poops. Each cell poops. You have to look at each cell like your little baby that you just brought home from the hospital. You got to feed it and you got to clean it. And if you don't clean it, that's when you have the acid blue. You see all the inflammation on the bottom and everything, all the redness and stuff. Yeah. And that should be in people's faces, that urine should be acidic, because that's your metabolic waste, and that you never want to keep urine or anything else inside or on the skin. Because remember, acids, you'll see them. Acids are reddening, inflammatory, heat producing, all of those things. And there's only one system in your body that deals with this. You only have two systems, really, that deal with the integrity of a cell. The blood and lymph. Those are the two systems that are responsible for, one, feeding and bringing energetics to a cell, but equally as important is removing the metabolitic waste from that, the waste from the processing of this chemistry. And there's waste at all levels during the processing of this chemistry, because there's all types of cycles, from the cribs to everything you can imagine. Even the methylations, all these cycles that are out there. And of course, in those chemical spin-offs are acids. Ascorbic acid, a good spin-off. Not what people want to take. I mean, look at now, people are using ascorbic acid or vitamin C as a treatment for cancer. Well, when you treat cancer, that means you're probably not going to be successful at all. And one, ascorbic acid is an acid and it's being given intravenously, and you're taking an acid and putting it in a 7.4 pH blood. So what's happening? Hardening of the arteries. Hardening of everything, because it's causing the leaching of that one little layer of connective tissue. Well, now you're setting yourself up for aneurysms, things like that, particularly bruising easy, those sort of things. When your capillaries are getting so thin, they're just breaking all over. People has nosebleeds from the same thing. All this mucus and acid up there is leaching calcium. That's why you get calcified anything. Anything becomes calcified, you know immediately it was highly acidic. And the body's trying to bring it into an alkaline state. There's just the nature of chemistry. So that's what I would be doing if I was you. I would move to 100% fruit, berry, and melon diet. I would head off with herbs for the kidneys. I would head off, you could do some antispasmodic and some pain, see if that'll help. But bottom line is getting this kidney to regenerate and getting that acid out of the kidney itself. Also strengthening connective tissue and strengthening tendons and everything else. Muscles in the body, everything like that. So when you think about it, our field is pretty simple. We just work on the health of people. And our whole forte is clean and strengthen. Clean and strengthen. Two little words that mean everything to you. Everything to you. Physical body anyway. And then spiritually, of course, you want to clean. Cleaning means get rid of thoughts, get rid of desires and all the toxic things that keep you playing the game of days of our lives. And pull back from that, and you will have a much happier life if you just live in the moment and let the universe work through you. It will guide you, I'm telling you. It will guide you. It will have the next phase right for you. It will have your future set up. It's pretty friggin' cool. All right. So, respected dear Dr. Morse, love you, man. My name is, and I can't pronounce this, so I apologize. First name is A-A-S-H-I-S-H, and the last name is really long, K-E-W-A-L-R-A-M-A-N-I. Wow. Heck of a name, man. I am 15 years old. Whoa. Man. And I stay in India. Oh, man, we have one of the best Indian restaurants right down the way. Oh, that makes it tough. That makes it tough to be a raw foodist when there's an Indian restaurant right down the road. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes last year on 4th of October, 2016. I was very devastated for me and my family, I bet. I was prescribed 62 units of insulin per day during my 10-day hospital stay, but I was determined to heal myself naturally. You're 15 years old? Wow. Aware guy. A really aware guy. 15? I wish I had your awareness at 15. Oh, man. With unimaginable help and support from my family. Wow, especially from my mom. But you're Indian, right? The Indian people are... I love your hearts. You guys are just so sweet. I was able to stay off insulin for the first 8 months into diagnosis. All thanks to you. Oh, wow. I started Googling up on natural therapies to heal myself because I have full faith and trust in God and my body. I have the faith that my body will heal and has a great potential to cure any ailment if we follow the path of naturopathy and approach it holistically. You sure you're 15? Do you remember last lifetime at all? In India, do you ever remember any incarnations? Some of you guys have some memories of your journeys. Wow, man, you are one smart young man. While I was admitted in the hospital, me and my mom stumbled upon your name and your organization. We tried to follow each and every tip that was mentioned in your book, the Miracle Source book, and your blogs. My mother has studied the entire book. We were amazed to see how my body was responding so positively to this newfound lifestyle. I got more and more motivated to continue on this path as I was seeing that my demand for insulin kept reducing. 40 days into my diagnosis, I was completely off insulin. Again, thanks to you. Thank you, my man. My vitamin D3 has dropped to 4.1. Started getting joint pains and could not take part in my athletic competitions in school. I was prescribed D3 supplements, but I did not take it. Instead, I used to take out time of my busy 10 standard schedule and sit in the sun. Oh. You sure you're 15? 5 times a week. Within 2 months, my D3 went up. See what I'm saying? That's what I was telling you before. It's not a supplement you have to take. It's when you get in the sun, your body produces it as a protection. And it depends the type of skin you have and all that sort of thing. The darker the skin, the better you're suited for the sun. Us real whiteys, we don't do well in the sun. It's like, I want to have a nice tan, and it took me years to get a decent tan because I'm more red. So it's like, ugh. You guys are so lucky. Look at that, 4 to 24. My joint pains vanished and I was feeling fit again. Now, do you see the benefit of lipids? So you want to keep thinking about that in terms of detoxification. Get your GI tract detoxified because remember, you absorb fatty acids through the lactose into the lymphatic duct to the gallbladder, pancreas. Remember, the gallbladder is more of a lymphatic organ than it is a blood organ. Fatty acids are not for the blood. I choose the sun over supplements because you had said that sunshine is far better. Because you get full spectrum lighting. And you ever notice when you're inside and then you walk out in the sun, it's almost like the sun comes and gives you a big hug and says, I love you. Does that feel good? Yeah. Yep. A few days back I had 103 fever, but I did not take any. You sure you're 15? Holy moly, man, he didn't take any pharmaceuticals. Instead, I chose to be on a fruit diet the entire day. Next day, I was absolutely fine. See, and that's my point. These are detoxification symptoms. And if you ride with them, you do the fruit like this young man, and you take care of yourself, there is no problem because it's detoxification. Now, some people die. You got to realize this. A lot of medical doctors still prescribe Cipro. And Cipro has killed a lot of people. Go Google Cipro. Blood clots, strokes, heart attacks. I had one. Gave one to my client. So I can just tell you that a lot of people die of cold and flus from the treatment of that. Unfortunately, I had to start insulin again since the past 3 months because my sugar levels were not coming in control in spite of following a strict lifestyle. You know, work on your pancreas, liver gallbladder. I would use the liver gallbladder formula for a while. Definitely go after the kidneys and adrenals because all type 1 has adrenal weakness. And adrenals is where you metabolize. That's where you get your cortisols. So look at the adrenal glands as part of the utilization glands of body chemistry. You need, there's what, 25 mineral corticosteroids. So if you're low in iron, you first have to make sure your adrenals are giving you the mineral steroids to utilize iron. Because you might be low in the adrenals, which everybody is, and not be able to utilize iron that you want. So you have to look at everything that relates to iron. You can't just say, well, I'm going after the liver and that sort of thing and take iron supplements and stuff like that. That's insane. Because then you can lead into iron toxicity. Because if you don't have the steroids to utilize, taking more doesn't do you any good except stack it on. You're forcing the problem. And after a while, the blowback comes. I am feeling very dejected because of, don't feel that way, young man. No. You're doing excellent. Keep going. And you could just have a temporary blowback. Matter of fact, you know, you could be pulling things up, and that's just where you are right now. You keep going. You keep going. Vegetable matter with type 1, not so good, but I would keep going. I'd be working on my pancreas. I'd be working on my my liver gallbladder, and my adrenal glands. But for sure, there's always adrenal glands. Type 1 and type 2, both are the adrenal glands. You might have beta cell islets, beta cells that perhaps are not producing enough insulin. You know, there's a lot about type 1. Marcia and I, matter of fact, we're just talking about it because she's got a nice little layup to show you what type 1 is versus type 2. But I will tell you, you know, the universe kind of talks to me a little bit here and there. And so, you know, there's always been, my attention has always been pulled over to the liver gallbladder in type 1s. Always. Always. I know the Allens and Langerhans, I know the betas, I get all that. And you got to remember something else, young man. You could have a neurological type 1. So you want to get yourself on the brain and nerve formulas to strengthen the neurological side at the same time, because it is the autonomic. So you're going to be coming down here on the adrenal glands, bringing up your adrenal glands, check your blood pressure, both sides. Anything below 120, you need to work on your adrenals. Probably need to anyway. But those adrenals then will, of course, bring everything back up. So it's looking at that. It's looking at the metabolism of things. It's looking. Now, keep in mind, how do you create a weakness? Let's just say, for example, you did have a beta cell weakness. How do you create that? Well, type 1 has been always known as more of a genetic issue, right? Well, I can concur with that, basically, but I've seen type 1. I'll put it this way. Remember that case I told you where the lady went in for the forced surgery and she came out of type 1 and she quit menstruating? And that was all from propofol from the anesthesia? See? So that's what I'm saying. Take a look at all these different aspects that control tissue. But when you go and you look at how tissue fails, let's say you got a genetic weakness from your mother. She wasn't a type 1 because it wasn't weak enough, but then you're the downline and that just threw you into it because it just was a little weaker, and that threw you into that. It's possible like that where the mother and father are just on the borderline, not detectable per se, except through maybe iridology, and yet that the children then start flipping into it. That's real. I mean, this is the downline, and as things keep going down that way, tissue gets weaker unless somebody starts strengthening things up, which is what you guys are doing right now. You're teaching the world how to strengthen the human cells of the body, which is essential. So think about that neurological thing too. By the way, 103 is about normal. So, I mean, when you're detoxing, if you get 103, just do what this lad did. He wrote it. He had juices and everything's what you do. Your baby's the same way. Babies, though, and I tell you, and young children, they love 104 and 105. I've ran them with that for years, but that's where they go. So, well, I like to cool them down. I like to cool everything down to about 103. You don't want to stop fevers, because if you stop a fever, likely you're going to stop detox. And that's man's problem. He decided to treat his symptoms instead of realizing his symptoms are a reflection of the acidosis he's created inside of him. And the medical doctors come along and they say, well, we don't know any of that, but I'm going to call that symptom a disease. Yeah! All that acidosis, we're going to call it Lyme's, lupus. Because the bottom line is that if you go after the lymphatic system in your body the way we teach you, it don't matter what they diagnosed you with. Your remedy is right here. Because remember, chemistry rules this level. There's nothing like diseases floating around. Chemistry rules. This is cause and effect. The universe is full. We have microbes. They're the little cleaners of life. That's the problem. We're so toxic and acidic and cells are so weak, everybody's up for grabs, even cells. You know, remember, in nature, the weak are consumed and the strong survive. So you got to apply that theory. The strong survive, the weak are consumed, and you have to apply that at the cellular level as well. So clean and strengthen is the only two rational, common sense, and scientific way to look at life and health. If you're out chasing diseases, look at what it's done to all of you guys. Especially all those with the acne and stuff. Look at what happened all these years treating it. Can't treat what you have to detox. So don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad at all, my friend. I have just got my blood test done. I have enclosed an Excel sheet showing my blood reports since hospitalization. You know what? Let's see if you've included them. Let's see if they can pull that and give them to me. And next video I do, man, I'll include that. Because I'd like to see your blood work. Let's take a look at your blood work. And matter of fact, I don't mind reading one's blood work over the YouTube if you guys want to hear it, and you don't mind me reading it. Show you how to read a blood work a little bit. The latest report of 24th October shows my GAD antibodies have gone down to 323 from 920. 3 months back, and C-peptide has gone up to 0.7 from 0.4. I wanted to know, is this a good sign? Partly, yeah, absolutely. I would love to meet you one-on-one. I will come to U.S. from India at your convenience, even if you can meet me for a half an hour. Yeah, I don't care. You don't have to drive all this way, though, man. You can Skype. I am now in the 10th grade, and my exams are on the till March end. Upper circumbrain nerve, my dear one. Flying colors passing these tests. Upper circumbrain and nerve, because you also want to take a look at the nervous system connection to that. Now, you could do good with some lower circulation as well. In other words, moving blood more aggressively into the lower extremities of the body. That would be including into the beta cells and everywhere else. That would aggressively be moving blood. But blood doesn't break things down unless you don't get it to it. But what then would be the other side? If you're 80% interstitial lymphatic that deals with acid, wouldn't you have a tendency to be pulled over there, knowing that the blood will steal to maintain its alkalinity or death is imminent? Absolutely, it's going to pull you over to the lymph system. Absolutely. Just because one doesn't understand it all, it'll be a while before they connect the kidneys and the skin to the lymphatic system. It always takes them quite a few years to catch up with us. They just are that defiant. I am now 10th grade. I'm amazed, young man. I am amazed. And I hope you are a male, because I don't know what the names here. I apologize for that. I really want to reverse this condition, and that's only possible under your guidance. I'd be happy to help you. Happy, honey. But I can tell you, Marcy's kicking type 1s like crazy. And she's one herself, or was. So yep. Whatever we can do to help you, I applaud you for 15 years old with the consciousness that you have already, young man. Pretty cool to me. Alright, hello Dr. Morse. How should I get started in order to start my journey in healing myself from herpes? What specific kits, herbs, and or step-by-step protocols should I take to effectively tackle my problem? Now remember, virals, you see in herbology, and you read about these herbs, and they say, well, it's an antiviral, and it's like, as far as I know, there's nothing such as an antiviral. And the antiviral pharmaceuticals, those babies have major fatal events tied to them. Matter of fact, I don't know if you ever heard of worst pills, best pills, or best pills, worst pills. Well, that's a medical doctor group, but they're really shining in on pharmaceuticals, and we get it here, because we're always looking. Because a lot of people here are on pharmaceuticals, and we're an education facility. We're going to put it in your face what these pharmaceuticals are doing to you. Everyone should take their own responsibility and look at them themselves. Because and same with herbs though. If someone asks you to go on something, you should say, well, what is it? What does it do? What's the side effects? That sort of thing. They're not much. Yeah. So virals, in my opinion, have to be detoxified, like HIV. You might have pharmaceuticals now to suppress, but look at what it's done to so many people. Simple detoxification is key to overcoming any of these things. I'll be honest with you. Getting rid of viral loads are not difficult. Now, this all depends on what? The condition of your lymphatic system. I had a young girl in here, and she had a relationship, and I guess he gave her herpes, and of course she was distressed because she was a young woman. And so I said, I'm pretty confident. And I said, you can knock those things out by detoxing. And then I looked at her eyes. And I don't know if I've ever seen eyes so white. Like a dairy farmer's eyes. And I'm thinking, she's going to be a hard time for her to believe it's going to be a while. You got to realize virals are just like anything else. In a glomulated environment, in an acidic environment, things love to stay home. There's no detoxification to that environment. That's why the natural food of man is fruits, berries, and melons, and vegetables if he so chooses. Matter of fact, on the guy on the floating kidney, down the road, you might want to think green drinks. Particularly a lot of alfalfa, that sort of thing. Parsley. I currently have your Heal All tea, which will only this tea itself, with the help of eating grapes, get rid of my herpes completely, 100%. If your kidneys are filtering, and you're really 100%, it should. But you got to detox with that. I would probably, it depends where your finances are, but I would probably do at least 2 or 3 kits if you can to really shake up the all that's in there. Get things hydrated, start enhancing the function of cells. Because when you look at herbs have 2 basic functions. They either affect structure function, which is the cells, or they're about the fluids, lymph fluids, blood, that sort of thing. That's what's so cool. Herbs, if you study them and you look beyond the disease thing, because herbology got trapped in the whole thing like everybody else. The AMA has literally been effective at infiltrating everything. Of course, herbology is considerably older than the medical profession, and maybe it was the other way around. Maybe the herbology influenced medical thinking. Because remember, I told you Marcy found a medical bag, early 1900 medical bag, and all it had was a whole line of individual herbs and a manual to show you how to mix what herbs for what condition. So, it could have been that our field started that in a way, thinking about taking herbs for treatment. You've got a symptom, this herb's good for that symptom. But in reality, it's up to us to change the whole consciousness of the planet and get rid of that kind of thinking. And get into the proper, as we've been talking about for years, the proper understanding of the body and how it works. In your best opinion, if I should implement more herbs to heal, should I do a mono grape fast for 40 days? I would. Hell yeah. 40 days? People think, oh, that's a long time. Not really. And you're eating as much as you want. And I wouldn't overeat, but you could have as many settings as you want through the day. And, you can eat small meals more often is the way I would do it. I would just kind of eat until I felt just, good, not full, not anything like that. And then when I got hungry again, I'd have some more and have a little more. You digest better that way. Things work better that way. But there's another side of this. When you understand dry fasting, you understand that when there is no digestive need, you detox better. So, you play with both of those. But get your kidney, excuse me, still got a little bit of cough left. But we all been detoxing pretty good here. Or do I do a fruit feast with any protocol? I would be on fruits, berries, and melons. Or I do a 40-day grape and lemon diet or 40-day grape diet, don't matter. If you have some great navel oranges that are sweet as honey, I'd probably do that over anything else myself. Now, I just bought some watermelon at lunch. Alongside the road, this guy had an old pickup just loaded with freshly picked, seeded watermelons. And then none of them, they felt firm, tight, they sounded like they were good. He had them cut there, and it's like, oh my God. So, we'll see. I'll let you know. I'm excited. I haven't had any good watermelon in so long. I'm frustrated. I don't even want to buy one anymore. I would greatly appreciate a detailed explanation. I don't know if you're going to get a detailed explanation, my young one, of what type of herbs of yours. That's something that comes from the clinic. I don't give detailed things over the line here, not to be the Fab 4 kit. But I would probably do the first kit or two, at least. Matter of fact, you can do the first 2 weeks. Do that kit twice. That way you're killing worms and everything else. You do have antivirals in there and all that. But do those 2 back to back. That's a month. And then take off with, say, the Heal All tea. And boom, the grape fast. But you can do the grape fast starting right off now. Do those 2 kits with it. That'll clean the bowels and all the other stuff faster and help you deal with this faster. Sometimes if you use the herbs more appropriately, you get things faster. Also, I've heard of a master fast system, protocol of just conventional grape juice with squeezed grape lemons. Remember, I don't buy into that. I disagree with Juno on that. I think that's insanity, and I think, he's cut me down real bad, and it's like, you know what? When you cut down someone that bad, that means you're insecure, you don't have anything going for yourself, and you have to cut someone else down. I don't live in that world. You don't have to cut anybody down. We're all brothers and sisters. We all come from the same source. Everybody looks different, thank God, and everybody's a different level of awareness. Get that. But we have to have compassion and love for others. And so, but I will say that I disagree with his approach. And too long a dry fasting can be dangerous for those that have not cleaned themselves out appropriately. And McFadden died that way, so you have to be real careful with that. That's all I'm saying. Would this be a good idea for me to do considering my issue? No. You could add, if you did raw grape juice, yeah. Would this be a good idea? Okay. If yes, would implementing fruits such as watermelon and grapes increase the likelihood of ridding this virus of... Remember, virals have to go through the lymphatic system. So it's key that the kidneys are filtering. It's key that the skin is sweating. It's key that you see this level of elimination. And then your viral loads, no matter what they are, they can be Hep C, they can be HIV, it doesn't matter what the viral loads are. That's it. In my opinion, the only way to truly have remedy is detoxification on all levels for all things, including viral loads, excessive fungus, all of these things. Same thing. Same thing. The body will get rid of what it doesn't want. But give it the opportunity to do that and put it in the right chemical stance to do that. Or when you walk into the cold, you're going to catch a cold. But if you don't have the medium for which that happens, there's nothing to catch. There's nothing. If you look at more like triggering mechanism instead of catching, you'll be better off. But it's true, we can get into some bacterial issues. Doesn't matter. They're going to start cleaning you. That's the whole idea of bacteria, is they're cleaners. They clean up our messes. But we can, medical people can blame them, but the real problems of man came in with the use of antibiotics, not his savior. They're touting the penicillin as their savior. Not really. Not really. It's why we're all where we are, is what that is. It sure made acute and subacute symptoms go away. Seeing that, they thought, we got rid of it. No, you suppress it. It's easy to suppress acute conditions. Those are your beginning, like cold and flus and months of measles. It's easy to suppress that. But chronic, that's your fibromyalgia. In their language, it's their fibromyalgia, lupus, Lyme, it's systemic acidosis. And nothing good comes of that one except a lot of pain and suffering. Or will it disrupt the process if only conventional grape juice? I do not recommend pasteurized anything for detoxification. What the hell is he thinking? I don't know. You get some real bizarre thinkers out there, where you're into pushing the raw and you're a raw food, but then but this does better when it's cooked. Just trying to change things up for himself. Moreover, does the master fast system method produce the same results as if it was just eating grapes to get rid of herpes 100%? Absolutely. The dry fasting is one of the keys. And I'm again not pushing dry fasting. Remember our friend whose parachute didn't open? He showed me his urine from a 12-day dry fast, which I adamantly disagree with. But it worked. He's still alive, and it did get a lot of nasty stuff out of him. I will say that for sure. So, I'm learning too in some of these areas, but you got to be careful, because in this country you have liability to think about when you hurt somebody by being a little austere or being over the top. That's why I like balance. Keep yourself balanced, and it's a good place to be. Additionally, do non-organic grapes produce the same results as organic grapes for detoxification? That's a good question. I've never had the time or the lab to take a look at that. To really check that out and see. I have to say that organic, to me, is always far superior, because they run the risk of consuming neurotoxins with the pesticides, even if you clean them really good. However, with that said, if you clean your grapes really, really good, sometimes it's the best we can get. And I will say the power of the grape is more potent than a pesticide or two molecules on there, as opposed to not eating them at all. Because they're self-neutralizers, self-cleansers. Because organic fruits are expensive, I know they are, and hard to find in PA. Yeah, they use the regular grapes. Most people do around the world. In addition, I am also suffering from hair loss, thinning of my hair. Ooh, that's not good. So, let's stop there a minute. Was this a disease? No. So what side of chemistry would start taking hair off? Well, you have to look any further to oncology. You can just go right over here. Oh, you guys use acid treatment systems. Oh, look, the hair falling right off of you. You know, it's funny, now there's an attorney group that's filing suit against the medical profession because they claim that if your hair fell out while on chemotherapy, you have grounds to sue. What? So it's like, yeah, well, let's get deeper. The use of chemotherapy, when you see it ravaging the hair off of you, what's your hair follicles and hair made of? Cells. So what's your organs and glands made of? Cells. What's your muscles and tendons and bones made of? Cells. And acid destroys cells. But when you have the idiocy of thinking you're going to destroy the cells that are damaged, and the person's going to live after that. In addition, I'm also suffering from hair loss and thinning of the hair. Okay, so acidosis. All right, so what system deals with acids? The lymphatic system. Right? So, go after your kidneys, young men. Go after the kidneys. Go after your adrenal glands. Go after your GI tract. Go after your body for a while. Have some fun with that. Don't freak out. Detox it out. How about that? Don't freak out. Detox it out. That's pretty good. We need a shirt like, don't freak out. Detox it out. It's been going on for 3 years now, and I'm now only 20. I can understand your urgency, I will tell you. But I tell you, I would say every other person has herpes, but it's enough to say. You can see, if you're having outbreaks, you can see the outbreak difference when you go on raw food or when you eat proteins. So when you eat proteins and you can feel your body getting acidic, guess what starts to break out? Just like herpes simplex in the mouth. What happens when you go alkaline? They start to pull in and go dormant again. But you can detox them out of the body. I stress a lot every day, right? That's your adrenal glands, right? And have high anxiety. That's your adrenal glands. So your adrenal glands. But you'll notice that when you see herpes and you see these problems that man has, you can always trace it to weak kidneys, weak adrenal glands, and the lymphatic system. Each and every time. Not once in a while. Each and every time. That's when you know you're standing on the pillar of truth, because each and every time. Mm-hmm. I would like to know if doing that, and that's why when you came to like pneumonia for years was blamed on pneumococcus, right? The problem they had with that is in 50% or more of the cases of pneumonia, there was no pneumococcus even present. So it's like, how do you blame it on pneumococcus? I used to beat them up for that one. How do you blame it on pneumococcus when pneumococcus isn't even present? So now they have pneumococcus pneumonia and non-pneumococcus pneumonia. Oh, man. I would like to know if doing the protocol for curing my herpes completely 100%. It's not something you cure. It's not a disease you caught. It's nothing that you can treat without hurting yourself. It's something merely that you put in that you have to get out. Proteins in, proteins out. Viral, same thing. Proteins, that's what they are. Research it. I would like to know if, okay. will also solve my issue of hair thinning. You know what? It will. Because you have to go to that level to get your herpes out of you. Then that in turn, and that's the system you have to work on. That's also going to clean the head. I would use upper circumbrain nerve. If you're 20 years old, I would use upper circumbrain nerve. I'd go after my kidneys and adrenals, learn what dry fasting is a little bit, but how you get your kidneys filtering. And that's where I would be going. Fix the hair, because at 20 years old, not good. You know, when you have hair loss or balding in the 20s, you're going to be a 40 or 50-year-old Alzheimer's patient, or dementia, or some type of major memory problems. I mean, I'm just saying. We're having it now. People are going nuts. People are not, they don't have common sense. They're freaking out. Kids are running around with high anxieties and depressions. All the guys throwing pharmaceutical on top of pharmaceutical. I mean, it's insane. We need to rein this all in, show the world the truth of it all, so the world quits getting killed. All right, in addition to this, can it fix my emotionals? Absolutely, because you have to fix your adrenals to fix this. Without fixing your kidney and adrenal matrix, there's no fixing this. It's kind of like if you don't have a lymph node for your acids to drain through, or cells that are damaged to come through, there's no changing on the other side of that. So if you remove a lymph node, or a lymph node has become calcified or hardened because it's been acidic for years, holding acids because the kidneys aren't breaking it loose on the other side, it's all backed up to what? The houses. And what's the houses in your body? The cells. And that's when you see the deterioration of the cell. You could call all that diseases, I guess, right? State from being negative all the time to a positive emotional state in life. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. And another thing you're probably suffering with at this time is tons of fungus. If you're 20 years old with these problems, I submit you probably have a lot of fungus in you as well. In all honesty, should I focus on one specific problem first? No, you can't. Good question. Excellent question. No, you can't. And don't do that, because if you do, you'll never really get well. I'm going to take an herb for viral involvement. Might as well take pharmaceutical, no, not really. But, I mean, you're just not going to go anywhere. Detoxification is the key, and why? Because it removes out of the body what the body doesn't want in terms of chemistry, but it also returns the body into an alkaline dominant state as opposed to an acidic dominant state. Whether medical doctors realize it or not, who cares? If you can't grow and expand and understand truth, then you're going to be riding in the wagon behind. Because our group is going out front. You guys are out front curing people up like crazy. I think that's cool. I don't want you don't focus on one problem at all. You focus on detoxification. That should be your focus. And you don't want to get too trapped into it. Then you start using your mind and you start going, am I doing this right? I'm doing this right, I'm doing this, and you're overthinking it. This is like what you're doing here. You're kind of overthinking things. You're throwing a lot of questions out there. I get why. But settle down and realize your focus. Get your focus and follow it. If it doesn't give you the results, change focus. Or see if the focus was proper. Should I focus on one secret first, then proceed with the other? Nope. I really want to focus on getting rid of my genital herpes virus first, then proceed with solving my hair thinning. What if the problem's in the same system? See what I mean? Okay, and I'm saying, you 20-year-olds, I feel for you. All you guys, the 15-year-old, I feel for you guys. The genetics you're up against, the lymph stagnation you're up against from mothers that didn't know any better either. I don't want any disruptions by taking a lot of herbs that might not cure all at once. There's no curing all at once, period. There's no curing, even though they can't use the word at all. But I don't use the word simply because there's no cure to. You just can't cure something overnight. You can't snap your fingers and say, okay, all your proteins and acids and viral loads in the body, out you go. You have to fix the system that it's trapped in. And you got miles of interstitial fluids. So it's just that it takes time to get your kidneys filtering, get everything cleaned up. But at 20 years old, you've got that time of strength and tenacity. Go for it. Absolutely go for it. Go aggressively for it. I'm on your corner with that. And it wouldn't disrupt any of the two processes that I'm trying to cure. Get rid of the word cure. Not that that's a good word for us, because we do that. I don't care what your problems are. We don't cure diseases because no one does. They don't exist. But we cure every other, and that is only because they're all a different level of acidosis and lymph stagnation. And the blowback to whatever, the liver, the gallbladder, the lungs, the heart, the blood system, doesn't matter. The blowback is there. Remember this, if there's no obstruction to the flow of energy, there is no dis-ease. I can take herbs for all my issues and it wouldn't disrupt anything. I hope this doesn't confuse you. Haha, thank you. However, your input would greatly be appreciated. Is there anything I can get my hands on that'll help me better informed on how to heal my body on this virus and resolve all my issues? Really, I don't know any books out there on it. I'm hoping in the future that you guys write your books. And a lot of you are starting to write the books. Keep writing them. I love it. We're going to keep carrying them as much as possible. I would love to have a whole library that people can buy into of all your books, because we want our whole group to be the light on the planet, to show this world exactly how you get well and how you pull yourself back and enjoy your consciousness more than your mind and your emotions. And you will set yourself free to enjoy the beauty that exists. When you get trapped in Peyton Place or Days of Our Lives, things will tear you from one thing to another thing. Greed, backbiting, despair, loneliness. And the problem is, you're sitting there all the while going through all this. You've got to get all that to the outside of yourself and come back home to where you're observing all your bodies in stress. Then the knowledge and awareness comes into you how to fix them. When you're so busy and lost using your bodies with emotions and desires and thoughts, no one can get through. Sometimes you hear me whispering in your ears, but you got to be present to hear. That's another thing. Start listening within. Listen to spirit moving through you. Listen to the prana, the life force, as it sings and dances, as it's moving through your beingness. And then the voices will come. Moreover, for my age, I weigh 137 pounds, height being 5'9", which is really skinny. Well, what system do you have down? All right, and what system do you have to have down to have malabsorption? Okay, so you're going after all of this. You're going after all of this. Now you know you're going to get a little skinnier. Okay, go after this. Go after this lymphatic system. Set yourself free. Will I die doing this process of healing myself? Well, I only know one that has, and that was McFadden, who broke his extended fast on boiled potatoes, as the story goes. But he was a little radical, and that's what I'm saying. Any of you guys can be radical if you want, but on yourselves. Be careful when you play that story with others, because some of the responsibility will lie in your hands. You're not unsuable. Remember that. Nevertheless, I would like to say thank you so much for spreading knowledge on your YouTube for us. Keep going. And I love you guys. David, this is David. Dave, listen, man. I'm for you guys. 20 years old, teenagers, 30-year-olds. The shape you guys are in are horrible. Horrible. Namaste. Here's some blood work. All right. You got lots of fans in India. I love you guys. This is Sri Kanath, Srikanth, 33-year-old male, 6 foot tall. 140 kilos of body weight. Secondary lifestyle, 70% of my diet was Indian non-vegetarian curries. Curries, fast foods, and white rice. Yeah. My health issues are, one, varicose veins. All right, so we know immediately parathyroid. All right, you're not utilizing calcium properly, and you need to think about your parathyroid. Well, you're 6 foot, so I'm going to say maybe look. I'm thinking of the Indians, so I'm thinking maybe you better look at that pituitary connection with the parathyroid and go after this. You know, you're going to move to an all raw diet, right? That's to be understood. In my world, to be healthy, you have to move to a 100% raw diet. Once you get cleaned up, you can sneak a little curry here and there, a little vegetable korma, or ras malai, or something like that. You got matar paneer, you know, you got those. Peas and soy, perhaps. But, so, my T3, T4, TSH are normal. 2, burning, but that doesn't matter. I mean, when you have varicose veins, you're losing connective tissue. So that would be thyroid. TSH, T4, T3. Varicose veins would be parathyroid, PTH. Burning sensation when I pass urine and stools only when consuming spicy Indian foods. Come on, you know that, but it shows your body isn't neutralizing the curries and the peppers and stuff. I can't do heat. I can't do hot, like real hot peppers and stuff like that. I can't do that. I can't do that. I broke into some ghost peppers when I was a young child, and that ended my career for anything hot. I burnt for days, it felt like. And we didn't know milk would do it. We were water. Yeah, right. Water, right. Oh, brother, I remember that. All right, so a simple cyst of 1 centimeter in my right kidney. Yeah, see, they're the kidneys again. So as you detoxify and get the kidneys filtering everything, that cyst will come off of there. 2 years back, I passed 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter kidney stone from my right kidney through my urine using homeopathic and Ayurvedic medicines. Yeah, get those kidneys in shape, because I don't know, that's pretty good passing that stone with that, to be honest with you. I've passed 9 stones so far. You know, I grew up milk drinking. And acidic diets, meat and milk, brother, those are farmer foods. Vegetables, but you know, they're on the side. Tailbone pain after driving about 50 miles on my bike. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're burning down in here. The bladder's burning, the kidneys are burning, but that's all acidosis. Interstitial acidosis, okay? So that means your kidneys are just not filtering like they should. So that means you must start filtering to get this remedy. Because that burn, when you feel burning, what side of chemistry are you going to go to? Acids. So then that pulls you into, well, where's these acids coming from? All right, that's a fair question. From the cells themselves. Cells eliminate waste, guys, and you have, what, let's say 100 trillion of them? So isn't it pretty common sense that the body would have a sewer system in it, even though one might not understand it completely? I think the problem with the AMA with that is during dissections, they couldn't see the lymph system. And this is what the University of West Virginia made a comment on. They can't find the lymph vessels in cadavers. Only in living people. And that's like interesting. That's probably because they're so viscous and you know, but I don't know. Interesting stuff. Doesn't mean they're not there, because common sense can figure all of that out and direct you to that. Sometimes you don't have to follow every little pathway to understand the whole picture. It's in my world better to understand the whole picture and then follow the pathways. And don't lose sight of the picture, because the whole comes first and then the little parts of it. So even the tailbone, you have inflammation down in there and in the hips and everything else. So that's the problem. Prostate probably as well. Lead toxicity, you know, again, detox that out. My anti-CCP was 2.23 OD ratio. Muscle cramps under the left rib cage when I suddenly laugh, and mostly in cold weather. Okay, so that's more evidence to me you're not utilizing calcium properly. That's parathyroid, I can tell you right off. So you want to go into the parathyroid gland. I think we're out of the 50s, but if you do the 10s, you want to do 2 or 3 times a day. At the same time, I'll look at that. TSH, huh? Let's take a look here a minute. But I don't want TSH. I want PTH. Let's take a look real quick at his blood work. All right. You know your cholesterols are creeping. You know, and that's another sign of acidosis. All right. So you want to look at that. It's not in there. It's not in the band where they're going to tell you yet, but you can tell they're creeping. So that's not good. That's just telling you you're highly acidic. Let me see here. Ultrasound. Liver normal in size. No evidence of portal vein. Normal in size. What's the impressions here? Impressions. Feature suggestive of simple right renal cyst. Okay. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Get your iridology though, because that's when you can see the cells. These can't see the cells. Ultrasonic color flow imaging of both. Wow. What is this? An incomplete lateral perforator is noted in middle 1/3 of leg. Huh, interesting. Well, all I can say, that is also suggestive of parathyroid in my opinion. So I think that pretty much when I look at your case, I'm looking at parathyroid in terms of that sort of thing, but I'm also thinking, you know, let's take a look at that pituitary a little bit. It might affect, I didn't see where they had the TSH on here, my man. I don't see, you send me the cholesterol thing, I don't see any TSH, T4, T3s. When you see your cholesterols, remember, you're initiating that, you know, the lipid buffering system. That means immediately, look, what's going on? And since cholesterol is antacid, then when you see it being elevated, then you would say, oh, I'm getting acidic. Let me see here. Yeah, sensitivity to cold weather. Feels good in warm and sweaty conditions. That is suggestive of low thyroid, though. It really is. I feel sometimes nerve dragging pain from buttock to feet because of lower back spine disc. Yeah, narrowing. See what I mean? Get into that. Get into the love of raw foods and fruits. And get those kidneys filtering, the adrenals up. See if the body will open that up for you. Get that acidosis out of the temple, because everything is going to start leaching or closing, giving you spurs, all of those sort of things. You want that parathyroid working so you can pull all that back into bone matrix as you begin to alkalize or discharge it. That's a part of the problem of taking calcium supplements when you're highly acidic, is giving yourself rocks, stones. I had this nurse come in one time, and she was a nurse anesthetist. And she had arthritis, and her anesthesiologist boss told her that she should take calcium supplements. So she come walking into my office. These were her legs, like she'd been on a horse on the prairie for about 2 years. She come walking bow-legged like this, and I looked at her and I said, let me guess. Arthritis, but you've been taking calcium supplements. She looked at me and she said, how'd you know? You're stoned up like a rock. She said, no kidding. Can't do some of these things, you know, because what happens? And what happens to calcium in the presence of acidosis? Okay. And of course, yes, when you have acidosis, the little brother's present, right? And who's the little brother? The calcium. Phosphorus. I feel sometimes nerve-wracking. That's why I'm saying that lower back, you got to fix that. Dragging nerve pain in my left groin, which radiates somehow to testicles, but my scrotum veins are normal. Yeah, but excuse me. Excuse me, guys. Come on out, baby.
Yeah, baby.
This is all shows me high acidosis all through the lower burner here. Is it because of varicose veins or nerve compression in my spine? I'm going to say maybe the nerve compression in the spine, but the varicose veins are victims of acidosis and the loss of your connective tissue there. That's why they herniate like that. And be a perfect reason why you can get compression. Perfect reason why you can get compression. You know, you start loosening and weakening the skeletal system. And not good. My prostate is normal in size, but when I pass my urine, have incomplete feelings sometimes. Absolutely, because your bladder's highly inflamed. You can, in everything you're telling me here, you just got a lot of acidosis down in this area. But probably systemic, man. Hard not to be all over when the system you have down is all over. That's it, my dear. Can I do... Are you a female? Please tell me how to fix my health issues. Lots of love and great respect from India. Thank you, Mary Byron Doctor. Wow. Namaste and great love to you too, my dear one. No, you're a male. That's right. Yeah, I can't be a female with you know what. Yeah, that just says what it is. You know, you just got to get your kidneys filtered and get this lymph moving and get these acids out. But to do that, you have to be on what? The other side of chemistry. You got to get on the other side of chemistry. It's that factual. Remember, the Homo sapien is an islander species. He is a frugivore species. Notice all the comments on people that have been eating the fruit, how they've opened up spiritually and how they're having out-of-body experiences now or more connected with the universe. You're looking at the kids academically and it's like, oh my God. Now, I think I told you that they sent me a video of my grandson, and I didn't know, my great-grandson, sorry, and I thought he was, you know, a 6-year-old kid. Someone was showing me how cute he was. I said, no, that's your great-grandson. I said, that's a 6-year-old. I said, no, that's a 2-year-old. I'm going, what? You know, it's cool stuff. Everything's redacted out of this. Huh. All right, David. This is from David. Thank you for this wonderful educational treat. Oh, I love you, David. Thanks, man. I love to have fun. Don't you guys? Let's have fun doing this. Right? I know we're going to go through our pains. We're going to go ups and downs. Yes, yes, yes. I go through mine. But you have to admit, feeling good, feeling enlightened, fun, fun, fun. Because if you don't have fun on your journey, what do you have? You know, and only you can make it into a fun game. And know that it is a game. All right? Don't take life too seriously, or it'll rip you apart. Please advise reprotecting teeth on a grape juice fast. Grapes, not so much. Lemons, absolutely. Anything acidic that's initial acidic. It can be an alkaline ash food, but have an acid hit in the mouth, like lemons. And yep, it can be lychee. So bicarbonates, baking soda, aluminum free. After your lemons and stuff. Get that alkalinity going in here. In time, though, those lemons will start to get the kidneys to filter. They're so astringent, they'll astringe the lymph system, and in time you'll see the reverse happening. Calcium will come back into these tissues and things like that. But again, same with the teeth. Where would our thinking be? Parathyroid. Parathyroid. Remember, when you have abscesses, receding gums, cavities, how many people have you cleaned up your cavities by? Absolutely, I hear it all the time. Acids, not bacteria. Acids, dear Dennis. Acids. Metabolitic waste in the gums, cells. All cells produce acid waste. How's the body getting rid of them? You know, we jump on this wagon of bacteria, and that's a sad wagon to jump on because they're our little friends. Will the acid from grapes not destroy the enamel? The grapes not so bad as far as I know. No. I knew of people. I was on 6 months organic oranges. However, they were organic from a grove, and you couldn't taste any acid. They were just, the sweetness was just, you wanted more. I couldn't quit eating them. And I had nothing but regeneration. I know of people whose teeth became loose or even fell out from long grape fast. Wow, never heard of that. I suppose it's possible. Well, let's talk about that, because that brings up another important thing here. Aggressive detoxification. All right? And it's something what Juno and some of those people are thinking about. It is possible, if you get too aggressive too fast, to lose your teeth. My friend, and it's easy to pop fillings when your enamels are going, but I can tell you, remember, the strong survive, the weak are consumed. You go too fast, and your body could dump things that you don't want it to dump. So there is that. Remember I said detoxification years ago is an art? That's the art. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and know when to go after it. So you have to take a look at that. If you're getting loose teeth and all this, take a look at your endocrine glands. Take a look at the parathyroids. Take a look at this, because grape juice is very alkalizing to the mouth. I don't see where it would have the effect of removing teeth unless it was pasteurized grape juice. But raw grape juice is very alkalizing. Take this. pH, all right? Grapes. Green. Okay. Dark black. Whoa. You know, and even wait a few minutes and let that all digest and come down, and then check it even. So you can see the influence. But more your acid fruits could have that impact. Remember, fruits picked unripe. I suppose grapes picked unripe maybe could have that impact. And too aggressive of a detox. Some of you have to be in an aggressive detox to get over the problems that you face, where your lymph system is so backed up, it's been chewing on your cells, and now you're getting tumors all over the place. Absolutely. You got to be aggressive. But you can guard the teeth that way. But check the parathyroid gland and all this with it, because that, but you can carry abscesses and acids all your life from your mother and not really know it. So when you wake up to detox, everything that's weak gets exposed. You got your eyes to look at. When you detox, you start seeing the symptoms and the weaknesses of your body. Grapes don't make you weak, but they can expose your weaknesses. That's just what detox does. It's going to go after your weaknesses and all the symptoms and problems you've created through the years. It's a walk back in time. It's a walk back in time and cleaning up the mess. And then you're free, you're robust, you're vital, you're healthy, you're on point. And now you're working on your spirituality, where you're pulling back. And now you begin to see all types of things you didn't see before. You start knowing things you didn't know you knew. Because remember who you all are. And that everything, you know so much more than you can even imagine. You don't need to study to know. You need to tap into your inner library to know. And there you have an endless library access. Cool stuff. That's what I would think, David. Go after it that way. Dear Dr. Morse, I wanted to thank you. Wow. Big heart. Big heart. Here's a picture of my before and after 10 months into this journey. I am 100% raw. Yeah. Fruits, botanic fruits and herbs. Since 12/11/16. My skin was very dry, and I was tired of being tired. You know, years ago, I remember I came down to this area because I was living on Anna Maria Island, which is a little island off of Bradenton up the road. And I came down here to put on a lecture on that. And one of the things in the newspaper, I said, tired of being tired? Yeah. It's nice to have real testimony of Wellville. And that reminds me, why don't you guys start filming your journey? Don't you guys want to be a part of a big movie that we're going to produce showing the benefits of naturopathy and this level of understanding? And if you want to be in this movie, start filming your progress. Especially if you're a quad or para neurological, any condition, your skin. Start doing your videos if you want, and we want to do a big show on that. See you in the 2018 Level 1. Yeah, baby! Looking forward to meeting you all. I've always believed that diseases do not exist, and you have confirmed that. Yeah!
Well, yes.
I have started my quest when I was 14! You guys are the advanced souls. Of course, and you guys in India would know that, but you're some of the advanced beings here, right here, coming to the doorway, and I love every bit of it because the light. Someone said the other day that the light now is stronger than the darkness. Yeah, I'm feeling it. I've myself as a scientist. Yeah. See, when you have a different picture, you can be a far better scientist, right? Right. Because remember, this world is really the effect. You know, we talk about cause and effect, but think about this. This world is the effect of thought. You cannot have anything in your world unless you can first create it in thought. So this world, the mental worlds exist first. As you look at the heavens and the levels of heavens from consciousness, thought. So the mental worlds, the I am world, so to speak, the mental worlds of pure consciousness. It's still not pure consciousness yet, but it is the closest thin line there is from pure thought to pure consciousness. It's that thin line that says, I'm one as you are one. That's the pure cosmic consciousness. Consciousness is, we are all one. I don't see us as one. We are all one. A little subtle shift, but it's another area of total absorption, like the Sufis, God absorption. It's that sort of going into that final step of letting go of the self. Letting go of the little self. The ironic part of this, you become the big one self. Woo! Different ways of eating, I now know the truth. See, you know the truth because you did it on yourself. And that's the beauty. You guys are doing it on yourselves. You're proving to this world that there is no such thing as diseases, that it is all chemistry and physics out of harmony with the human body. Bring yourself into the harmony of God and nature and the way it's all intended. Oh, I'm getting healthy. Oh, look, everything's going away. Oh, I thought this was incurable. I thought this was an autoimmune thing. It wouldn't be so serious if millions of people weren't being killed every year. I don't mean just millions, tens if not hundreds of millions, and about being maimed, so much more. So when you have a modality that says they're the health premier, and yet death is astronomically high under that theory, can't you think you should change theories a little bit? I give you permission if you wish to use them. Pictures. And the name is Guylaine, Cote, C-O-T-E, Cody. Wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of changes, honey. Also, did you notice you're getting a little firmer? You know, keep going, and it'll firm you here, honey. Yeah, as you get older, when you start feeling a little sagging, know that it's connective tissue weakness. Age, acidosis. We can associate more acidosis the older you are, absolutely. No question about that. But here is 10 months results. I thought I was healthy before. Was eating all organic, but with meat too. No more. It's amazing. I can only imagine how my inside. Yeah, right. Work in progress. Hope it can help you see the light. The only way to live my life now. You know, sweetie, you're a beautiful woman. You've done well. Keep going. Your face is toning. I love it. Keep going. We don't need to have artificial stuff. We don't need Botox. We get the redness and all the acids out of the tissues, and we strengthen the connective tissue. You will tone. I don't care if you're 80 years old. You ought to see the people that we work on here that come in here that's in their 80s and 90s. And I'm going to have to tell on them better than me because they're kicking my butt. But you always see the hair turning color again. You see their skin tightening. Matter of fact, I think it was ABC or Fox News in my clinic one time filming a story on cancer case that what the medical doctors called cancer, but what we call lymph stagnation, right? And so we fixed all of that, and of course there was no more lymph stagnation or tumors anymore, and so that was a wow, and it's like, no, really, I mean, that's what we do. But the cameras were in and showing this. Well, there was a lady in my office that was an organ player at her church, but she couldn't because her fingers became gnarled like this. And her face was just one big wrinkle. Just wrinkle, 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 wrinkle. You know. And so when the camera crew came in to film that story, she was sitting in the lobby and she says, look at my case. And they go, what? I tell you, it was cool. Straight, smooth. 84 years old. So they put her in the newspaper too. Put her story in there too. That's pretty cool, you know. That's how you do it. My mother, Angele, I'm not sure how quite to pronounce that, Angelique, is 56 years old and 5 foot tall. So at 5 foot, you know where we're going, right? I'm already putting pituitary right here. No matter what else you say, I'm going to stick pituitary right here. Born with one kidney, double female anatomy. Wow! Smoked for approximately 30 years of her life. Wow! Now quit. She had carbon monoxide poisoning a few years. Recently, she is having extreme vertigo. Okay. She has been having them for 4 months. A few in the first 2. Also comes with that. Swinging blood pressures can come out. Drop foot. I mean, this is when you start moving down that road. So, you know right off, you got to get her kidneys to filter. To filter. This is going to take it easy on her because she only has one kidney. So I would be real cautious. With this case, I would only do one lymphatic formula, and I would probably... It depends what the bowels are. I might use a capsule for a while, meaning less will be put into the blood, less will hit the kidneys. Because when you only have one kidney and you got a whole body dumping into that one kidney, hopefully, you want to be gentle with that in terms of aggressive lymph pulling. I wouldn't do aggressive lymph pulling. But I would do the 24, 36-hour dry fast initially and that sort of thing. I'd use the kidney formula, particularly number 1. I would definitely go after the adrenal gland. If there's only one adrenal gland in the body, that's amazing. I mean, it's amazing when you see only one kidney and one adrenal gland, knowing that each kidney controls each side of the body bilaterally, and same thing with the adrenals. I mean, it does get a little like, oh, because we can see the results with kidney removals when the lymphatic system doesn't connect back. Major lymphedema on that side. I mean, I've told you some cases, and it's not a pretty picture, and it's heart-wrenching for those people. A few in the recently they have so bad. It's extreme vertigo. She had to crawl, and it makes her throw up. They can last 1 to 2 hours. She complains of ear and head feeling very full. Absolutely. Okay. All right, so here's the thing. You want to start off with this. Go get some ear candles. Candle her ears. Do 3 to 4 candles per ear, number 1. Number 2, start working on her lymphatic, neurolymphatic points down her back. Particularly hit the kidneys, and then go back up here and work down, and work on the kidneys. Hot and cold compresses to the back. Shower to the back there. At the same time, fruits, berries, and melons only. You're going to get in trouble here if she doesn't correct this. This is her central nervous system now, with the autonomic coming right in here. So big time little Texas brother. And depending with a head full like that, brain lesions can trip her into a neurological problem. So or strokes or things like that. So you want to get this opened up. Get the kidneys to filter as soon as you can. Hit 2 or 3 kidney formulas. Maybe a kidney cytotrophin maybe, but go after that kidney and try to open up. You could neti pot maybe. You can neti pot maybe the 3-lung tea, which breaks up hardened sputum, mucus, and stuff like that to get it to drain. So you can chew on horseradish root. The doctors want to remove her inner ear. God. Doctors want to remove her inner ear. What's your take? Love you. Oh, Chantel. It ain't removing your inner ear. See, that's the problem. You remove her inner ear? How do you fix the vertigo? How do you fix it? It's just not her inner ear. It's her whole cerebellum. Yeah, you know, these are some of the things that we can fall victim to. That type of insanity. So Chantel, let's get her fixed up, get her drain her brain and everything else. And listen, guys, the sad thing about this is by the time I get to your cases, it could be a month away. So as soon as you know that you think we know what we're talking about, get on the horn, especially when you have a lady like this is in serious trouble and they want to start removing tissue. It's just the lymph system. So handle those ears, get some drawing, get some relief, and you have to do it again in a week. Do it again in a week. I don't care what anybody says about ear candling. Open, open, open. Detox, detox, detox. Remove pressure, remove obstructions. Well, this obstruction is in the lymph system, not in the blood. And the inner ear is just a victim. It's just, you know, it's, so go that way, and you'll pull your mom back. Plus, you're gonna add years to her life. She's 56. She's got one kidney. So if she learns how to take care of that one kidney, repair and fix everything else in her body, she can live right on with a good life and no problems whatsoever. And she got to know, though, one kidney, absolutely know what? I heard you all. Protein. Your body can only use amino acids anyway. Why would we want to go to proteins? Wow. My question involves candida overgrowth, parasites, and how it would contribute to autoimmune diseases. Interesting. For the sake of truth, let's realize there's no such thing as autoimmune diseases. First of all. But if you wanted to, and let's just say, all right, let's just say that I'm going to use a little medical jargon. But I'm not doing it to treat or to anything else. It's just because they introduce it into common language and a lot of people don't understand that it's their nomenclature. Stuff like that. The crap that they, disgusting group of people. And how they treat others. And what they've set up in law and things like that. Just ominous. But let's look at what would be considered an autoimmune problem. Name me a few. Cancers. Their word for cancers, right? Fibromyalgia, lupus, Lyme's, autoimmune, right? Now, I think they brought in arthritis, they brought in type 1s. I forget what all they brought in. They brought in a lot of the autoimmune because when they can't fix anything, it becomes autoimmune. And then everybody goes, oh, it's my immune system, it's down. Right. No such thing. The contributing factor to this would be the acidic byproducts left by microbes. For an example, fungus leaves uric acid crystals. So does proteins. Well, uric acid is that little less than 3 pH acid that the little really owie acid, where your metabolitic acids are about 3 pH. I don't know what uric acid is, but I think it's in the 2s, the upper 2s, of course. But kind of like, I think Gatorade is in the upper 2s according to the Minnesota School of Dentistry. That's not good. I think that Gatorade could be highly sued by the NFL and others, and runners and everyone else for false advertising, because you can't hydrate with an acid drink. Hydration is not under the acid side of chemistry. That's dehydration. So when you're dehydrated by which side of chemistry does activity create? Acids. You're moving all right, I'm moving my muscle. What am I creating? I'm creating more lactic acid, right? But I'm also increasing respiration, cell activity. So I'm going to increase all the acids, basically. So that's okay to create acids if what? You can remove them in an appropriate and timely manner. If you can't not remove acids out of the body, the blowback is obvious. Well, your body has some protection. Calcium, cholesterol, You've got the histamines and all that. But, so first of all, I needed to correct that. So if anything, parasites, because what system would autoimmune problems be in? The lymphatic system, right? The lymphatic system is the sewer system, right? Right. So what's microbes about? Sewage. Just open up your septic tank. What do you got? Bacteria and fungus. Open up your septic tank. What do you got? Bacteria and fungus. Okay? It's the world we live in. Understand that and clean your sewer system. If you want to get rid of parasites, we got herbs for that. But they'll be back because you have a culturing medium. Your body's calling to the wild. Come clean me. I'm acidic and toxic. Oh, you want to kill them? Not smart. I think, but if you want to know, the contributing factor would be the acids that they leave from their activities. I think I have some candida overgrowth. I think everybody does. To be honest with you, I think we're also full of fungus. It's unbelievable. Plus, especially remember with you guys with the sulfurs, woo, heavy fungus. I mean, I feel sorry for you. All these sulfur drugs did not do man any good. It created a whole host of additional problems because sulfur, remember, does not come out of the body well. Remember Charles Goodyear's story using sulfur drugs to harden his rubber? I'll leave that go. Such as white-coated tongue. Well, the white-coated tongue is just a demonstration of how lymphatic stagnant you are interstitially. And the more you get the white, it will turn into yellow, turn into green. Remember the 4 stages of disease, which is simply the 4 stages of acidosis, the 4 stages of lymph stagnation. Acute, white tongue. Subacute, yellow tongue. Moving toward chronic, green and brown. And the final stages, guys, is black. Black mucus, black everything. Tar. It turns into tar. Any of you gotten that out yet? Boy, in the olden days, I detoxed people right down to the cell, brother. And the black, tarry stuff, that's when I knew I was right at that level. I was right into those degenerative levels, cleaning that out so cells could rebuild. Pretty wild, isn't it? Okay, here. Such as white tongue, bloated feeling after eating, moody. Now, yeah, this could be a sign that you have sulfur or sulfur involvement. Also could be a sign that you're combining your foods wrong. It also could be a sign that pancreatically you are lower in enzymes, and so you're getting a little more putrefaction. You're not eating meats, let's say, so it'd be fermentation. If you combine your foods wrong, you stop digestion right there, and then you get gassy bloating from that as well. So those are the 3 basic or 4 basic areas that I think that you see that at. Last year I had sinus colds every month. That means you're congested. That just means you're congested. Decongest completely, and you'll never have one again. There's no need to. There's nothing there to decongest. Then how does the congestion get there? Chemistry. Chemistry. We love chemistry. And one side of chemistry irritates the mucosa, causing mucus. The acid side, the protein side. And it's the proteins that initiate autoimmune responses, which is mucus. Stopping dairy seemed to help that, wouldn't you think? That's what I'm saying. You know, you got to get off all the dairy products, all the cheeses and all that. The dairy products. You know, I wonder if the Dairymen's Association could ever be sued for lying to people. You know, this lie after lie after lie after lie has compromised the health of so many millions of people. And we're humans that should love each other. And when we find something doesn't work, stop it. Change. We've gotten a lot of Amish dairy farmers to change to vegetable farming and things. You know, so when people wake up, I guess things will change, right? Yeah, stopping dairy. Vic kind of stopped his sinus colds. But that just goes to show you what we're talking about is true. It probably didn't help that I was following a high-protein, high-fat diet during pregnancy. Oh, honey. Breastfeeding prior to that. Well, here's the thing, though. Remember, ladies, if you're eating an acid ash-forming diet, your breast milk will become acid forming. So then your baby's eating an acid forming milk, and you'll feel your little baby's up full of mucus and acids. And then you'll start seeing the cold and flu-like symptoms, the higher fevers and all this, and then you panic and go to the ER, and then they give them a Tylenol or some light antibiotic and stuff, and then goes the chain of suppression. And a little stronger the next time, a little more problematic the next time, a little deeper the next time, maybe a little bronchitis the next time, a little deeper, maybe pneumonia the next time. See what I mean? What you suppress today is your nightmare tomorrow. And when you wake up to this, you're walking backwards, and you're going to walk back through past nightmares. You just don't go from Hellville to Wellville by one big jump. It's a move down the road. Brewer's diet. Right after our baby was born, I started trying to get healthier at age 43. Wow. So if we can have another child, we could. It took me almost a couple of years to find your information. Oh, wow. After graduating, working into eating more raw fruits and vegetables and feeling really good for most of the year, I tried eating grapes for one day and felt very weak and fatigued the next day. Anyway, my naturopath said my B12 was... Yeah, eating those grapes lowered your B12, and what was it? Supplementing B12. They just found this out not too long ago. Supplementing B12 suppresses like thyroid function. That's what it was. I was low, and my HCl levels were still low, so he suggested I continue taking HCl. Not me. Not me at all. He's nuts, or she's nuts. You don't take hydrochloric acid. If you better leave that alone. Get rid of the proteins. Don't touch hydrochloric acid. Leave it alone. This guy's nuts. Super phosphoenzyme and B12. That's that same modern naturopathic bullshit that is going, sorry kids, that goes on all around the world, and there's no curative value. It's ignorance, and they don't understand the real essence of naturopathy. They're not taught this. The medical doctors have infiltrated naturopaths, and it's become a giant mess. They don't even know anymore. You call yourself a naturopath, you do not recommend supplements, and you do not recommend meat eating. High protein diets, that's naturopathy. Naturopath became out of naturopathy. But now we've tainted that and created naturopaths that don't have a clue about health. If you're a naturopath and you don't know about raw foods, you got a problem calling yourself a naturopath. You shouldn't do it. Call yourself a I want to be medical doctor. Because that's what you are. My MD checked some basic labs and they were normal, but I had a positive ANA. So she referred me to a functional dietitian and a rheumatologist and told me to increase my protein. Oh! Oh! Whoa! Yeah, you have arthritis, which is a chronic acid condition of the body. So she wants you to eat more acid-forming foods. Make sense? Whoa! Over the top. And that's the problem medical doctors are being in our field. And that's a problem because they don't have the awareness to teach you in our field the properness about health. They're not into health, they're into diseases. If they want to be health, become a naturopathist. Functional dietitian. Scary. And rheumatologist. I'm thinking about making an appointment with your... Yeah, that's where I'd be going. Detox specialist and going through your... That's where I would be going. I mean, you know, and taking herbs. I would, as opposed to treating acids with acids. Oh, yuck. Also, there are so many differing opinions about diet and supplements out there, so if it is really difficult to know who to trust, take one and follow it. If you don't like the results, change to another. But if you get on our sites and everything, you'll find that everybody is getting their remedy, my dear one. And listen to who makes sense. Don't use your awareness. Use your common sense to determine which direction you want to go in. And go in that direction. Give it your best. If you want to go to a rheumatologist and you want to go on a high-protein diet, go ahead. I guarantee you, you'll be back here. And supplements, the only supplement I recommend at all is herbs. And it's not to supplement, it's for structure function issues of the body or breaking up lymph stagnation. Because the body will find its way to well, Bill. That's what it wants. It's an innate desire to be healthy and well and dynamic. You have to remove that which is blocking it from getting that. So you pull back. Which side of chemistry? And there's only two. It's real difficult. It's pretty easy when a 5-year-old can understand it. Pretty scary. And you have to sift through these opinions, because opinions are a dime a dozen. Start looking at reality, truth, and the body and chemistry. That's what we teach. But follow your inner guidance. I don't want to take something I don't need or something for candida overgrowth and it messes up my gut bacteria. No kidding. That's the beauty of herbs. They don't do that. Pharmaceuticals rip you. Take an antibiotic, you get extra fungus from that. Most of you ladies that take an antibiotic get yeast infections. It increases the yeast in the body, the fungus in the body. Ah, here we go. I don't know too much about herbs and what they do to the body. Nothing but good stuff, honey. Nothing but good stuff. Look at the herbs we use. Look at our formulas and how many herbs I use in each formula. And I've used them for not 40 years, but probably 35. Because my first 10 years, they had no herbs involvement. Not much anyway. Little here and there. I didn't know about them that well. I mean, I knew them, but on supplements. So I'm not coming from an ignorant position. I've went through this naturopathic crap and supplement crap. Sitting there, I already was a raw foodist, and I'm going, antagonistic view? Totally. Antagonistic view to health and vitality is supplements and the naturopathic thinking. Now, how sick is that? Who do you go to get remedy? That's why our group, I want to become strong, know what they're talking about, and cleaning up the world. And then people know who to go to. Those that speak the truth. And those people you can count on for the love and understanding that we have for your problems. Get an herb book, honey. Get an herb book. Start reading up on herbs. Enjoy herbs. Who created them? Not man. And that's one your big understanding is. That's why my company originally was called God's Herbs. A lot of people had a hard time with the word, but I didn't. I wanted to make homage to who created them. So when you say, when you start tearing down herbs like medical doctors do, you're cussing God. It's like, oh, good luck with that one. Whew. Should I be tested? You don't have to play that game. Just detox, honey. Just detox. Before going through detox, quit running intellectually. First of all, one thing I'm noticing here a lot is a lot of you guys are in your mind. Get out of your mind. Get out of your mind and turn to simplicity. If returning to simplicity will free you and will allow truth to come in. But when you're confused because you're trying to stack this up intellectually, forget it. Pull back. Look at the overview of what we're talking about. Don't pull in, pull back. Right? Because when you pull in with your thoughts and ideas and you're looking at the A and A and you're looking at all this, you miss the causative factors. You're looking at the effects of your lifestyle. You want to pull back and notice your lifestyle creating the problem, not some phantom disease some medical doctor made up so he can treat you with toxic pharmaceuticals and make a ton of money doing it. Is the detoxifying contraindicated with anyone, especially if it had an autoimmune problem going on? There's no such thing as autoimmunes. Do the herbs just get rid of bad stuff, overgrowth parasites in your gut, or does it wipe out everything like antibiotics? It does not wipe out everything. Very selective. Who created them? So you could take parasite M for an example till the cows come home. Doesn't affect you. Doesn't tear up the gut. Doesn't do anything like that at all. Neat stuff, huh? That's why I'm an herb lover. Just because of just what you're saying here. Can diet alone get rid of candida overgrowth? No, I like the herbs too, but you'll never get rid of candida overgrowth until you fix which system. If you've got yellow toenails or fingernails, you can use Parasite M, maybe a dropper and a half, 2 dropperfuls, say 4 or 5 times a day for for a good month at least. Or you could simply clean the lymphatic system. Take the Parasite M if you want, but clean the lymphatic system, and guess what? No more yellow toenails. No more yellow fingernails. I thought everyone should have some candida. Well, you're always going to. You are always going to, because there is always fermentation processes going on, always. Because no matter what, it just seems like at one level or another, people are not digesting properly. They're not mono-eating. If you're mono-eating and you're eating proper foods like fruits and berries, you're going to break down and utilize every bit of that food. When you're bringing in all this salad material, you're bringing in all these different forms of foods, no, you create an antagonistic digestion, especially when you're dealing in hydrochloric acid foods, which is your proteins, and your starches, which is your alkaline digestion. Predominant digestion is alkaline, believe it or not. The initial hit on a protein is because a protein is so complex in structure, like a brick wall, you're not just going to do the sledgehammer and break down a brick wall. You're going to bring in a big boy with a wrecking ball. Okay? Thank you so much, and this is Carla. Thank you, Carla. Okay. Hello, what is your opinion on using sodium thiosulfate for a detox? Holy crap. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. But I can tell you right off, it's a sulfate. And I'm not into sulfates. So I am not into using anything for detox. I'm into letting your body do it with the alkaline chemistry and the flavonoid complexes and all the astringent values that fruits have in them. I'm not really into taking any type of chemical like that. Some people talk about the type of detox on YouTube and have had good results as far as cleaning everything out, good and bad. I tell you something, guys, be careful about the dangers of overthinking things and adding things like this, because you know, it can destroy the legitimacy of our fields. You know, when you get too many radicals out there, the medical doctor goes, "We told you so." So, stay balanced. People that have done this detox highly recommended replacing your good bacteria, vitamins and minerals every day when take. Oh my God! Well, that right there, you want to run away from this. That means it depletes your nutrition and everything. Who would do this? Oh my God! You're taking the sodium thiosulfate. Is that what it is? Thiosulfate at night for 4 weeks. I have Parkinson's. Oh Lord. And would like to detox. Thank you for your time, Maria. Listen, sweetie. No. You get on fruits, berries, and melons only. You're getting the upper circuit brain and move your head off into your lymphatic system. Get the brain lesions healed up. Start going after it in the proper way. No. Go after it in the proper way. Go after that Parkinson's. Not that they go after your neurological weakness. Upper circuit, brain and nerve. Go after the adrenals. Go after the kidneys. Go after the GI tract. Get that gut cleaned up. Get that lymphatic system filtering. Enhance, rebuild. Only the fruit level is going to do it. Fruits, berries, and melons will maintain that high electrical need that the nervous system has. Got to go to the adrenals. That's the juice of the neurotransmitter side. That's the juice of the autonomic. You know, get drained, get lymph moving out of the head. If you have brain lesions, they'll start healing back up. But you need high level energy to do that. This is the CNS, the central nervous system. It isn't like your liver. It is a high electrical system. That's why the fruit. It isn't a fruit, it is the electricity of the fruit. You got to realize that food's compacting electrically. Chemistry is electrical. It can't be a chemical before it's not. It has to be electrical before it's chemical. So it's electrical. Food is electrical. So when you're looking at health and vitality and detox, think electrical too. Alive, power, energy. Because without energy, the body doesn't want to do anything. Don't want to detox. You don't want to do anything. Pump in the energy, baby, and you're ready to go. And so is your cells. So is your body. And that's how you focus on these type of foods. You can just push in that red button. Be right back. Well, it might have seemed like it was nothing, but it was been about 2.5 hours since I had to turn this off. So many changes going on around here, you wouldn't believe it. Fun stuff, expanding, doing all kinds of things, fun stuff. All right, so let me go on here. Yeah, this sodium thiosulfate or something. Oh my God, guys. Some things are pretty dangerous. Nitric oxide, all these things like this. You have to be very, very careful. Nitric oxide is explosive, and yet they have it in supplement form. I think that man has been so unaware of what he needs in his lifestyle to make him healthy, what kind of vertebrae, that man got so far off the track, and then sprung the power people, the World Bank, the trilaterals, then came the Rockefellers, then came the medical professions, and the power and the control and all this, and this is all going to explode apart. It's not happening anymore. This power and control is dwindling and breaking apart. It has to. The light is breaking it apart, because that is the darkness. Anybody ever go into a hospital and think there's full of light? Not at all. The pain and suffering in hospitals are great. You know, the kind of hospital we would put together would be amazing. And when you come out of that hospital, you're going to feel really, really good. So this is the sort of thing we have to change, this whole planet's perception and consciousness about the health issues. I love Indian food probably as much as most Indians. I do. I'm very passionate, but it also can bring you down. So it's the sort of thing, all these foods and all these ethnic groups can bring you down, but there are things you can do once in a while. Maintain this high level of fruit. If you want a higher level of perception, you want to not feel your body, is get it cleaned out and healthy, and I guarantee you, you won't know you have a body. You'll be operating from consciousness, just from your diet. You don't have to be a spiritual thinker or aware. Your awareness will explode with that. I've had many letters from you guys telling me, wow, it's energy. But what does quantum physics say about energy? A little metaphysical side of physics. What does the quantum physics say about energy? It has intelligence. Energy has intelligence. Difficult for the soul that's engrossed in creation to perceive that. But doesn't it make sense that everything you eat has to have energy in it? Absolutely has to have energy in it. So this is the sort of thing that is important that man wakes up to. He can enjoy the foods that he's raised upon, but our young kids need to learn how to eat raw foods. They will start the whole new world of a whole new level of thinking, a whole new level of food prep, raw food prep, and you can have fun making all kinds of neat designs with curries and stuff with raw foods. There's all kinds of levels of fun, and still maintain health, but you must detoxify, in my opinion. You must get your kidneys filtering. You must get your adrenal glands up and running. You must do some things to get your body back in shape to where it needs to be. And then enjoy the ride. So I'm going to have to close because, believe it or not, everybody's long gone. I'm the only one here. And I'll just read one more. And then we'll make this a shorter video. And tomorrow's Friday. I'll be back in and do the last video for the week. Dearest Robert, thanks. I love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know what? You guys are amazing beings, amazing souls out there, and I love each and every one of you. And realize, as we're growing here in our health and everything, you've got your spiritual guides, you've got these masters of all levels coming in here. There's a lot of God force coming to this planet right now. Open yourselves up to that. Quit thinking. Start listening within, not outward, within. Listen to what's going on inside of you. It is really cool when you start changing your perception of being involved in Peyton Place or the days of our lives, and you pull back a little bit, claiming your consciousness, claiming your awareness over the mind, and enjoying the freedom that that brings. Your mind will operate totally fine, and you can even send it on missions of information. But be there listening when it comes back to feed you. Don't follow it in thought. Takes a little practice. But be here now, be here now, be here now, be here now. Keep repeating that as you walk through your life. Be here now, observe, observe. Break the chains of thought. And you have won the kingdom of heaven at the highest level. Dearest Robert, you are God's gift to this hurting world. Thanks. I'm going to read this. Thank you for your giving and hope. We love you so much. Oh, thank you. I love you guys too. This is Jess. Jess, I love you, man. I have low normal range platelet levels. Oh, wow. And so have put myself on your spleen formula as well as kidney and lymphatics. Do that. And then you also might think about the bone marrow. You know, get these pathways cleaned up. Sometime, maybe at the next video, we talk about what they're doing with different strains of cannabis. This one lady has been sending me these things, and no, honey, I am not aware of that. But in Europe, they're working with strains of cannabis for different things. Like one strain of cannabis will actually increase micro circulation. That's in the smallest of capillaries around in all these areas. But also, there is certain strains that pulls the mucus right out of you, almost too strong. So there are a lot of working on different levels of herbs, excuse me, and botanicals that can help us in those ways too. That's from my dear one, Jess. Let's give each other hope. And more than hope, let's give each other truth. And let's love each other. And let's show this world what true God people are like, what the true humans can aspire to be in their health, in their consciousness, in their humility. Absolutely. It serves no one well to chew on others. But think about bone marrow as well. You want to get that lymph moving because that's the chew, that the acids to chew, get rid of the acids. But enhance bone marrow with the bone marrow formula, I would, and also perfect clot was the spleen. You know, and work with that, and your platelet count will come up. What is it, by the way? I wonder. Okay, I'm sorry. I would like to also work on my bone marrow. You guys are much. I just love you guys. You guys are getting so smart. I don't know how this world is going to deal with you guys. I mean, you guys are getting it, and it's just amazing here. Is there a formula you have that would be good for my bone marrow? Yes, sir. Yes, there is, Jess. Love you lots and love you lots, Jess. Love you guys so much. It's fun, isn't it?
Give me a Y, give me an E, give me an F. Yeah!
Love you. You guys have a fun night or a fun day whenever you look at this video. And if you're having trouble, hang in there. If you're having trouble, call us. Don't suffer. And there are some of you that the healing crisis are pretty strong. I agree. Hang in there and make sure they're healing crisis, or we were talking about that earlier, healing events. And hang in there, and because on the other side of that fence is incredible energy, incredible love, incredible health, incredible vitality. I can't even tell you. You're hearing lots of stories, but we don't read you a lot of the testimonials that come into us. One reason the FDA does not like testimonials. Wait a minute. First Amendment rights, right? No. FDA doesn't like to give you rights. Bull crap. So, that's why I say film yourselves, because we're going to produce a big movie and we're going to get it out there to show the power of the herb, the power of the raw, and just what you can accomplish. And you guys are showing it and proving it. When you see someone in a wheelchair or someone that parachute didn't open and they crush their body and then they rebuild it and start walking and running, that's what this world needs to understand. No autoimmune, no diseases, cause and effect. You fix the cause and the effect will fix itself. Love you guys. Have a great night.